collective consciousness. It is the one and only Ellie. It's just me, quite literally. But if you can't tell, it's really humid out. But I'm gonna do this stream. Hopefully you enjoy it. It's all about sustainable fashion, environmentalism, and social justice. It's a 2.5 hour live stream. Do them every Tuesday and Thursday. So thank you so much if you're watching either the live or the recorded live. Either ways, it is going to be a super great live stream. I'm going to get into it real soon, but I always like to check my audio just to make sure you can listen. So a really quick check. Let me see. Perfect. Awesome. Let's see. I think my earphones are kind of janky, but let's see. These ones never really let me hear what's going on. Really quick check. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Oh my god, my audio is so good. It's good. It's doing good. The thing is, in the last live stream, I thought my audio was bugging because my earphones are kind of janky. So that was what was happening. But yeah, I'm really grateful and really happy to get into it. So to get into the chunk of the live stream, this is how it functions. I'm going to move that out of the way. But I use a Canva deck. That is this. I don't need it that big. Okay, so I use this. This is in my description. And a full resource for you, it's free. But basically how it works, it's a 2.5 hour live stream from 4 to 6:30. I live stream Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 6:30. And I usually start off with sustainable fashion news. That's really what I do. I feel the most comfortable and the most well versed in this topic. I've been studying sustainable fashion, you can say, for about 10 years. So that's the bulk of what I do. And then I take a break at 5, and then I do like general social issue news, environmentalism, any news in general. I kind of talk about politics, but there's just always so much, and I'm like a super busy person. But I do think that fashion, environmentalism, social justice is all part of politics. So I already inherently talk about politics. I talk a lot about policies and laws and stuff like that. So it's all weaved together. I just kind of like separate out more of the fashion news on the beginning and then like more of like the different sort of things at the end. And then I always struggle with like fashion shows, but I do want to watch more of those. I don't know which ones to watch, and then I try to end off in a fun way, but that's a goal. It took me like 5 months to actually take a break on the live streams. But yeah, this is how it functions. It's super clear cut. It's almost like a presentation. It's just like I go on a million tangents all the time, so I need this more for myself than like for anyone else. If I was like good at multitasking, I probably wouldn't need this Canva thing, but this keeps it structured. And if you can't make the whole live stream, like you can at least look through the Canva, or you can like skip through and see like what I talked about in advance, so you can get updated. Like that's my main goal, that you stay updated about what's happening and not feel too overwhelmed about what's happening in the fashion industry. So that's that for you. It's just a resource. But yeah, my name is Ellie. That's what my TikTok and Twitter, or X is called. It's all about. My mom's last name is Mireles, so you can always follow me on Instagram, Depop, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, obviously. I'm trying to like live stream on Twitch, but I struggle with the multi-streaming. But I do want to Twitch stream. Probably like some IRL streams or something like that. I don't know yet though, but probably be once a week or something. But it wouldn't be for gaming or news unless I figure out my Wi-Fi. But yeah, I have a Twitch if you want to follow me. I'm not multi-streaming though. I was trying to figure that out. And then if you ever want me to talk about something, let me know. None of the things that I talk about is sponsored, So like let's say you have a brand or like any other topic, I would just like see if it aligns with my values and like talk about it. I try to be as transparent and critical as I can at the same time. Like I'm someone that likes to really understand what's happening and like really go into it and analyze it. So if you want me to like look at a news bit, that would be preferred. I don't really promote anything. I don't really I don't get how do I say it? I don't get bought out. I don't sell out. So yeah, if you want me to like talk about something, cool, but I don't really promote brands or anything. And I rarely talk about brands in general unless I'm criticizing them. So but to get into it, I do want to talk about some stuff that's happening in my life, and then we'll get into the rest of the conversation about TikTok shop that's happening. They're currently really getting some good ground in midst of the tariffs as Shein and Temu struggle. Some upcycled collections, figuring out like the logistics of Shein, for example, and what that means for us. Learning about Vogue's new initiative in midst of the climate crisis and fast fashion. We'll talk about how European brands are ending up in Africa's conserved lands. Their conservation efforts are not going as planned when there's like European clothing in there, you know, and some other stuff as well. So, but yeah, before I get into it though, personal news. I have new lights. I have new lights. My brain is going very slowly today because it's super hot. It's been 90 degrees or so for the past couple weeks. I was actually at the library for most of the day, and that was such a blessing. I don't really stay at home, so that's just been such a great place to like stay cool. I don't have I don't have central air conditioning at my place, so it's been a struggle to be here. So the library has been super productive. I was there all day today, and then I put up these lights. I filmed the podcast episode, even though I was sweating in here. I was debating whether I should do the podcast episode in the library, but I wanted to use the same setup as always, which is here. Yeah, and I was doing a lot of research for jobs. I do want to move out soon. I probably want to move out from Illinois soon. I've been saying that in every podcast, and every live stream as well. But I have been struggling to find jobs. Right now, the job market is actually incredibly difficult. It's one of the worst job markets ever, to be honest. And I don't get paid by any of the live streaming or content creation that I do. I'm a very small content creator. I think it's actually going to take like, I don't know, from 2 to 10 years to actually make this a job. And I've already accepted that. Like when I started live streaming 6 months ago, I was like, oh, this is only going to take off after 10,000 hours or 2 years to 5 years if I'm lucky. Because you're technically still a new live streamer even after 5 years. Like some live streamers started when they were like 15 and they took off when they were like in their early 20s, like 22, 23. But they had the luck of like, or the ill luck of COVID that really allowed them to make it a living. But some people had been doing it for years and years and years and finally took off during COVID. But I didn't even know what live streaming was until like a year ago, so I could have not known how to time my success in COVID. But I have been looking to websites to see what job possibilities out there, and I found this site called coolworks.com, and it has a lot of different jobs everywhere, and they do provide housing, or some of them provide housing, a lot of them do, and it's like seasonal work, and it's really cool because it breaks it down in like different states. This is not sponsored, this is just something that I wanted to share. But I've been wanting to move to Wisconsin, so I've been looking into the Wisconsin jobs, but I came too late because most of them are hiring for like the beginning of June, and it's already mid-June, you know, so it's like I'm too late. But some jobs have been popping up in Washington and stuff. Like for example, in the Wisconsin section, like Cohen's Franklin Lodge, which is a resort in Wisconsin, is hiring for like a receptionist job, I think, or an office job. Yeah, office staff from July 7th to September 15th. But they only pay $15 to $16. I'm so tempted to apply to this one, but it is such a short time span, and they don't really have individual rooms. You have to share a room, which is awful, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So I've been debating this one, but I don't know. Like, I don't want to share a room. Like, I'm 28 years old, and I invested so much time and effort into like creating my own space and my own room. Like, it's literally like my office. It's literally my living space, my living room. So I really need my space to like live stream, and that's really not possible when you're like sharing a space with someone else, or it's harder to at least. But yeah, Coolworks is a good resource if you're interested in like moving or want like some sort of like job option that helps you with housing. Because housing is so crazy right now. Like the prices for an apartment or for a room, it's crazy. It's so expensive right now. Things are super scary. So I'm trying to figure out if there's gonna be some more like August openings in Wisconsin for like a hotel or resort or something. I don't care if it's badly paid. Like in my hometown, there's like only service jobs, so I'm kind of like used to it in a sad way. But that's the reality of a low income frontline Latina. I don't come from privilege or a lot of resources, and I could always find a job in Chicago, which is close by, but it's very competitive. I've been applying to different things, and it's no one's getting back to me, and I would probably have to interview like a million times to like get an opportunity, but no one is getting back to me in general. So I've kind of been like waiting around and stuff. And then another piece of news that I want to share before I get into the sustainable fashion news is that I'm actually going to be live streaming on, what is it? What Now? What Now is a shopping live stream app. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but basically, let me show you. What Now is a shopping app. I already said that, but I think you can see it. It's like you basically go on the app and you go live, and there's people like selling you stuff that's usually like secondhand items. So let's look at that girl. So it's basically, it's like auction style. They sell things super fast, and it can't promote overconsumption in a way, but my Depop stuff hasn't been selling, so I'm probably gonna go to Whatnot. I'll definitely share the information on my social medias, but honestly, like, I'm struggling to get by. The job market is crazy as we like bomb different places and like announce ceasefires the next day. It's just like the world is chaotic right now, so trying my best to make my car insurance, like that's what I need to pay soon. But yeah, that's what I'm up to, selling clothing on Whatnot, Depop, finding jobs and cool work, stuff like that, and still doing live streams, and yeah, going onwards. But definitely going to want to move like in August or September, so things are scaling and probably going to change soon. But my life is relatively calm right now. Just have to apply to a lot more places. But to get into the news, there's been a lot happening in sustainable fashion. There always is something happening with Shein. And one of the things that has happened is that TikTok Shop is actually gaining a lot of traction in midst of Trump's tariffs, which have heavily impacted Shein and Temu. And this article is by Rest of World, and they do cover a lot of like social justice-y sort of things, but they take more of like a deep dive. Rest of World is like a non-profit, so I don't think they're that tied down to like corporate interests or like certain narratives. So they're super informative if you like want a new sort of like source of information. But they do focus a lot on tech. But this article really grabbed my attention because it's related to fast fashion. So it basically starts off saying that the platform recently launched, so TikTok Shop recently launched in Mexico and Brazil, where its fast fashion Chinese rivals have already a strong hold. Let's go ahead and listen to this.
TikTok Shop battles Shein and Temu in Latin America's e-commerce race by Melissa Amezcua, published June 23, 2025. Narrated by AI. Yareth Zuniga's boutique in Ciudad Victoria, in northern Mexico, is usually filled with items from Chinese e-commerce sites Shein and Alibaba. In recent months, her stock has dwindled as new import taxes for Asian goods have caused shipping delays. She has instead turned to another e-commerce platform, TikTok Shop. Since its launch in Mexico in February, TikTok Shop has drawn sellers like Zuniga, an administrator at a public elementary school, who is able to make an income simply by promoting products on the platform without having to keep an inventory. It helps me grow and reach more people, Zuniga told Rest of World. Whereas earlier, TikTok had been little more than a place for her to share tidbits from daily life, with her 46,000 followers, its e-commerce feature has now become a lucrative economic opportunity, she said. Hundreds of sellers in Mexico have flocked to TikTok Shop in recent months, even as the app faces pressure in the US. A national security law passed last year requires TikTok to divest its US business from its Chinese parent company ByteDance, or face a ban. President Donald Trump has delayed the ban thrice, with a deadline for this month extended by 90 days. Facing uncertainty and slower sales in the US because of trade tensions, TikTok has turned its sights to the south, launching first in Mexico and then in Brazil, earlier than some analysts had forecast. The e-commerce marketplace in Latin America is expected to exceed $1 trillion by 2027, a 100% increase from 2023, according to Payments and Commerce Market Intelligence, a market research firm. TikTok, with more than 111 million users in Brazil and 81 million in Mexico, the region's top markets, has an advantage over rivals Shein and Temu, which have an established presence in the region, according to Carlos Corona, Chief Growth Officer at Mindgroove Macarta, a digital market agency. TikTok Shop already has the organic traffic these other platforms are fighting for, Corona told Rest of World. TikTok Shop has a huge competitive advantage in Mexico, which is among the top 5 countries with the fastest growth rates on TikTok, he said. Alongside users, these countries also have fast-growing markets for advertising. Brazil and Mexico are the largest markets for advertising for TikTok after the US and Indonesia, according to media agency We Are Social. Still, TikTok Shop will have to contend with well-established e-commerce giants. Mercado Libre is the dominant platform in the region, while Amazon remains a powerful player in Mexico and Brazil. Shein, launched in Mexico in 2018, and Temu, which arrived in 2023, also have loyal fan bases. With the de minimis loophole closed in the US, Shein and Temu, which enable cheap goods to be shipped to customers directly from China, are also serious about Latin America. In Mexico, Shein has become a household name thanks to the 3.1 million strong catalog sales industry. Many of the sellers have incorporated products from the company into their stock. Its success has also made it a target. To protect local industry from cheap Asian imports, the Mexican government in December announced a 19% tax on items from countries with which it does not have a free trade agreement, including China. The move has hit many Shein and Temu resellers. TikTok Shop might be able to get around its Asian rivals' challenges in Mexico, Javier Huerta, a manager at Flow Pagos, a platform that helps businesses manage online payments, told Rest of World. One way is cross-docking, where goods bypass traditional storage, or by selling products that are already in Mexico, regardless of their place of origin. This could lure sellers away from platforms such as Shein, Temu, and Facebook Marketplace, he said. TikTok Shop also has a lower barrier to entry. Valentina Sanchez, a college student in Mexico and a longtime fan of Shein, dreamed of becoming a brand ambassador for the company, but her requests went unanswered. In February, she became an affiliate for the newly launched TikTok Shop. Since then, Sanchez has sold cosmetics and clothing on the platform, even going viral for a video in which she modeled garments. She now makes $150 in monthly commissions, Sanchez told Rest of World. To help sellers make the jump from Shein and Temu to TikTok Shop, several agencies are offering advice on social media platforms. Indie Pro Marketing, a digital marketing company in Mexico, created a discussion group on Facebook ahead of TikTok Shop's launch to teach users how to sell and earn money on the platform. You can work with 500 or 1,000 creators based on exchanges, free samples. Leverage these communities already made for you. Oscar Fryho, Indie Pro Marketing's associate director, told Rest of World, referring to the loyal followers the creators have accrued. Now, all the barriers to purchase have been removed. In Mexico,
This literally sounds like a new concept of influencers where they just passively make so much income. I remember when I wanted to be a blogger, they were like, oh, use affiliate links so that you can get passive income by just having people buy your products and a certain percentage goes to you. I feel like this is like the new wave of influencing. Like everyone's goal in a way online is to make passive income, and if you make one video and you generate a lot of money because it picks up or it goes viral, then like that's just a lot of money that you didn't even have to work for. I mean, obviously you made the video, obviously you're promoting a product, but like this is essentially free money. It's just you're the medium so that people find out the product. So you're like a marketing power tool for brands or companies. It's crazy how much money you can just make from like one video. It's scary, and I think I'll get into like the overconsumption point of this, but I do think it's giving a lot of people passive income without having to really do much except one video for one product.
TikTok Shop will become one of the biggest e-commerce giants in the next 2 years, according to Huerta. For now, the platform offers free shipping throughout Mexico and discounts of up to 50% on first purchases. TikTok Shop's commission for sellers is currently 6%, well below Shein's 16%, and comparable to AliExpress 5% to 8%. In Brazil, TikTok Shop could corner nearly 10% of the e-commerce market by 2028. A recent report from Banco Santander predicted. The platform will square off with Mercado Libre and Temu, the two most popular marketplaces, according to Conversion, a Brazilian e-commerce research firm. Besides fierce competition, TikTok is also not free from the kind of regulatory scrutiny that has threatened its operations elsewhere. Last month, Brazil's First Lady complained to Chinese President Xi Jinping about the potentially harmful effects of TikTok on women and children. This month, a majority of Brazil's Supreme Court judges said social media companies are liable for content posted by their users. While social media companies await Brazil's move, TikTok Shop has called its product launch campaigns in Mexico a significant success that has exceeded expectations and hailed its results as impressive. The importance of finding success in Latin America is quite clear, said Corona. It's one of the most vital markets for growth.
It's so interesting how TikTok Shop just came out of nowhere, but it really has gotten a lot of traction. This is a photo that says Shein closed for sale at a market in Mexico City. I did make a YouTube video explaining how a lot of Shein pop-up shops were coming up in Mexico for resellers to possibly make a bit of money from the need of others who just seem to want Shein for some reason, maybe to keep up with Western trends or to stay in the know of fashion, whatever it is. But Shein, man, has a chokehold on Mexico, unfortunately. And then TikTok added to it is just causing so much explosion of the brand. So for like Shein, it works out. It's just I'm a bit concerned about TikTok Shop. Like I said, it came out of nowhere. It like popped off, and at first I was like, oh, no one's really gonna buy. No one's really gonna like give their information on this random TikTok account, right? But no, it's actually been working. People trust influencers for some reason, and they just hand them their money because they made a video proving that the product worked. Or at least they made it seem like the products worked through the TikTok video. But I mean, for the sake of playing devil's advocate for a TikTok Shop, at least it's giving people a job, right? Like it gives people an ability to make money, whether passively or proactively, because it is a job technically to make videos. I'll give them that. They are technically working. They're trying to see how they can like get their products in the right person's hand, they're a mini business owner, right? Like, they're trying their best to reach people to buy their product. So for those struggling, it can be a godsend. It can be a way for them to escape poverty or at least feed their family. And in a country notoriously known to not provide a lot of opportunities or jobs, it gives capital essentially to like the most vulnerable. But it's hard to see the good things about making money and having more stuff be more accessible, like provided in a new creative format like TikTok, because we already have so much stuff. Like, we already have enough fast fashion to circulate the next 6 generations, you know? Um, and I do know that they have a competitive edge now that Shein and Temu have like the struggle with the tariffs and stuff. But I do think that TikTok is still doing something bad, even though they got a competitive edge. I do think that they're promoting overconsumption. Like, most of the things that we see on TikTok Shop, I'm sure you've seen it, is like the most random item ever. Like, it's just things for pleasure or for you to enjoy that is not meeting a need. Like, you don't need it, most likely. I mean, you may justify saying, oh, well, I need another bra, or I need another jean, or I need more slippers, or I need this comb or this hair straightener. But if you're discovering a product through TikTok Shop, I don't really think you're gonna die without it. I feel like we can survive without TikTok Shop items, but that's just me. But I do think that there's a lot of questions, as always. Like, one of the things that we have to maybe think about with TikTok Shop is like, where is the stuff coming from? Like, are the resellers connected with someone else? I personally have never used TikTok Shop. I don't see myself being on TikTok Shop, even though I'm gonna go so hard on TikTok. I have like 3 posts that I'm gonna be posting every day for July, which I'm gonna film most likely this Sunday and then release throughout the rest of July. But I don't see myself selling anything on TikTok. Like, the only thing I really focus on is secondhand goods, and I source those from the bins or like a local thrift store. But I mean, a lot of resellers do want to make capital in whatever way, no matter what it costs the earth or no matter like the damage done on other countries. So in that way, I'm like, influencers need to be held accountable to what they're perpetuating, which is essentially overconsumption, and it's producing more overproduction of goods that we don't necessarily need, and it's probably not going to last long. Like, I feel like TikTok shops or like Temu products, they just fall apart after a couple times, you know. But I just feel for the Latino consumers and sellers, like, they're the ones trying to survive. Like, I get you want cheap stuff that are pretty and stuff, but it's just like, we don't really need it. We just don't really need it. Also, another question before I do move on, that I hope that we're asking, just to put it out there, is like, again, like, what is the effect of TikTok Shop? I feel like this is going to be studied in a lot of years. Because when was the last time you went to an app and like bought a bunch of shit? Like, Instagram tried to sell us stuff, but that didn't go down well. Do you guys remember when Instagram started selling us stuff and we're like, no, that's not gonna work? And YouTube thankfully doesn't really sell us products per se. It does link products once we mention them, but it's not as aggressive as TikTok Shop. And I've noticed that like the listings are so subliminal. Like, when you're going through like the videos, the little product is just like right there near the caption. It's like small but still visible. It's very subliminal. So I think like all these product listings just kind of like get in our head without us realizing as well. But I am curious how TikTok Shop functions. Maybe it's worth our while to like understand it, because honestly I do feel like it's going to continue to rival Shein and Temu. And as I always say, it's better to understand what is happening than like just letting it be, you know? If we just let things be and don't understand what it is or what it's perpetuating, more of it's going to get away from us. It's going to continue to happen, and then how will we stop it, you know? What the heck? $32,000 last week? Oh my god. Am I on the wrong or right side of history? Am I dumb for caring about the earth when you can make like $32,000 every week? Oh my gosh, this is unhinged greed. Hayden, what are you doing, mister? Oh my gosh. How TikTok Shop became the fastest growing social media shopping platform? No, CNBC, why do you do this to us? Let's see this one.
AI writes my copy.
No. No, sir. Gosh. Taking an L after an L. Jesus.
TikTok. Every day, 50 million Americans log onto the video sharing app, scrolling, dancing, streaming, watching.
We've tried other platforms. We've seen success with other platforms, but we've never seen anything like TikTok Shop.
And of course, shopping.
TikTok Shops, that was the real game changer.
Launching in the US in September 2023, TikTok Shop joined a crowded landscape, with social shopping apps fighting for attention, clicks, engagement, and sales.
Before TikTok Shop, that path between discovery and purchase was actually not fully connected.
Social commerce isn't new. TikTok joined the likes of Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and even the ill-fated Amazon Inspire in attempting to create an attractive social media shopping experience. What sets TikTok Shop apart is this. In just 1 year, TikTok is converting more users to shoppers than any of its legacy competitors, a number the app is expected to expand on in the coming years.
We're only scratching the surface here with TikTok.
In 2024 alone, TikTok Shop had 47 million shoppers use its marketplace, with an average of $32 million being spent in the app every day. Money that isn't just going to big brands, but small businesses on.
Wait, what? I was so busy being an ADHD airhead that... What? $32 million spent in the app daily? I thought we were poor. I thought we were the poor ones. Bruh. Source, Capital One Shopping? Where are y'all getting this money? Dang.
In the app every day. Money that isn't just going to big brands, but small businesses, entrepreneurs, and creators who depend on TikTok Shop to maintain their business.
I opened, which is now Boss Cosmetics, when I was 14 years old. And I started that in my grandma's kitchen table. And it kind of grew to where it is today.
A revenue stream that is in danger of disappearing just as quickly as it arrived.
The clock is ticking on TikTok. The president also signed an executive.
This is an old video from a while ago. But the ban the ban thing was supposed to like be up by like around this time. Like it was supposed to be gone around this time, but it's been extended for another 3 months, so it's probably going to be maybe extended again to keep going after September. But it should have been banned around this time, but it's still going. They're like, yeah, another 3 months, so let's see where we are in another 3 months.
Order delaying the enforcement of the app's ban for 75 days.
They think it's just another silly app. And it's really not. It's changed my business. It's changed my life.
So how did ByteDance own TikTok go from a video sharing app to a dominant social shopping marketplace in just over a year? And what does an uncertain future mean for the app, its users, and business owners? In 2024, TikTok Shop added an estimated 11.9 million US buyers, almost double the buyer growth for both Instagram and Facebook combined.
All these companies should be real nervous because TikTok Shop starts from this huge strength of customer attention, very sticky customer attention.
We attribute our rapid growth and our rapid popularity to the way we have transformed discovery e-commerce into an efficient flywheel.
TikTok Shop itself is a marketplace, similar to Temu and Amazon. The marketplace hosts products for sellers. This means you encounter a wide array of product, from vintage clothing resellers and mom-and-pop businesses to drop-shipped Chinese goods, and even major brands. Brands like Elf Beauty, PacSun, Benefit Cosmetics, and Crocs.
All I'm hearing is like the Charlie Brown thing of like blah 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 blah, but it's like buy, B-U-Y, buy. Please buy, give us your money. Also note the Crocs on there. Why do we need all this stuff? When was the last time that Earth or like the planet or just like humans were like, yeah, we need all this stuff? Like, this is such a late stage capitalism innovation. Imagine if our past ancestors saw this. They're like, yeah, you really made a lot of progress as the Earth dies, huh? Like, I just, at least in my perspective, I don't know how this fits into like improving our livelihoods. It's product after product. It's algorithm based. You have to make videos. We're obsessed with being on TikTok. It's just capitalism caked on capitalism caked on more capitalism, and then you put more frosting, and that's, you guessed it, capitalism. It's just, I feel like we're losing the plot here, no? We're just alone buying stuff. 43% of TikTok users made at least one purchase in 2024. Huh? I was not included in that stat. That's a lot of people. Oh my gosh, what is happening to us?
At least one purchase on the platform in 2024, and 71% of those shoppers say they start shopping in-app when they come across a product in their feed.
Every time you look at something, every time you pause on something, every time you click or swipe on something, that's cutting code in the background on this algorithm and making it smarter.
On the other side of the equation are the 7 million US businesses hosted on TikTok. This is Aaliyah Arnold. She's the founder of Boss Up Cosmetics, where she makes and sells her own makeup line.
So I got on TikTok Shop a little less than a year ago, which is so crazy. It kind of just blew up and kind of expanded more, and it allowed me to reach a lot more audiences and just to know my niche and know what the people wanted to see from me. We have seen an increase 500% month over month, and we have done 6 figures consistently every single month.
The nuance with selling things online is like, where should we give our money? Obviously, we can like buy from vintage sellers on TikTok. We can buy locally owned from these beauty shops, obviously, and it helps like someone of color come up and like have a good life. She can employ other females or other people that otherwise wouldn't have a job. Like, I'm not essentially against capitalism because we are in a capitalistic society. Until it's gone, I'll stop like giving it the benefit of the doubt, and it's going to be a long way away before we can completely get rid of capitalism. I'm not dumb. I'm a socialist at heart. Morally, I do not align with capitalism's values and its functions and its role in society. It's just I'm trapped in it. But I do see the benefits. I see that it does help those get uplifted, be empowered, to have a self-autonomy, to have dreams, to have a quote-unquote good life. To maybe treat their workers better than, like, let's say Amazon and their warehouse work, or another atypical jobs like fast food or whatever. There is benefits, obviously, and it can empower local community business owners and just communities in general, right? They can find their way in midst of so much competition from major brands that are honestly becoming a monopoly at this point. But it's just I don't really see myself being a TikTok seller, just because I don't really see a strong market for secondhand goods. Like, I don't think most people are like, oh, I'm gonna go to TikTok to buy secondhand goods or like Y2K fashion finds, you know? So I don't think it'd be the best place to find my demographic personally. For someone that's just selling like general beauty items and already has like a big following, it could be a godsend, especially when the AdSense on TikTok for videos are so messed up. Like, the CPU for one video can go from 20 cents to $1 to 10 cents in any given moment for whatever given reason. Like, in CPU is basically like the cents per video or cents per views or something like that on TikTok, and it changes all the time. So a lot of creators are just left with this like ever changing, ever shifty payment plan from TikTok. And so like TikTok Shop can bring more self-autonomy. It can bring more creativity because you're not really relying on AdSense anymore. Instead, you're relying on like promoting products and stuff like that. So in that way, I can give more control and more power to creators. But I think it's like at what cost, you know? At what cost are we willing to make money? Like, are we going to give up our values, our morals? Are we going to be ethical about the process? Are we going to be transparent about where things came from? Because just because you're a locally owned business doesn't mean that the products were ethically or sustainably made. Like, those two things are not synonymous. They can be if you want it to be, obviously, but like, locally owned doesn't mean ethically made or sustainably sourced. So let's finish this video and then we'll move on.
Seeing growth potential in live shopping, an arena that's exploded in Asia with a global valuation of $980 million in 2024 and is expected to surpass $5.4 billion in valuation by 2032.
Definitely live streaming has grown my page significantly. Again, I started TikTok Shop September of 2023. I had about 1,000 followers. Now I'm at almost 70,000, and that's really, I think, because of the lives.
We believe live shopping is going to be very big. We had obviously a very successful Black Friday, Cyber Monday during the last Q4. We had about 700,000 hours of live shopping during this weekend. So it's actually getting a lot of traction.
There are unbelievable amounts of people making over $1 million a month already on TikTok live shopping.
Not only has TikTok and TikTok Shop changed my life, but I would say specifically live streaming.
Some people are making more than $1 million every month. I don't know if that's net profit or like profit in general. Net profit's like after cost. So if you're making $1 million after costs, that is crazy amount of money. Like, if I made that amount in 1 month, I'd probably not sell anything anymore. I think $1 million is enough for me. But that's the thing, like, there's no cap on how much money you can make under the system that we're in. So it just kind of like, it invites a lot of greed. It invites overproduction and overconsumption, which we don't really need. So in that angle, I'm like, at the end of the day, TikTok Shop for me is a net negative, not a net positive, because if we're just creating more stuff and having no plan on where it's going to go or how we're going to dispose of it, it just ends up affecting the global south, which is like, you know, countries that are not the United States or from the European countries. So I think it's gonna negatively affect the most vulnerable all around, because they're gonna be making the products, or they are making the products, and then it's gonna end up as trash in their countries. And one of the prime examples has been happening already in fast fashion, which I can get into because I talked about this in my last live stream. But basically, there's a lot of Western fashion brands ending up in conservation land in Ghana. So Greenpeace actually picked this up and discovered that there is a lot of UK brands found in what they call a fast fashion graveyard in African conservation areas. So here's a picture to give context of a 4-year-old textile dump in Ghana. Yeah, it's horrible. What's happening is horrible. 4-year dump, man. 4-year dump. And we're still making more stuff for TikTok Shop, which is crazy. But it says here, clothes discarded by UK consumers and shipped to Ghana have been found in protected wetlands and unearthed, and Greenpeace Africa investigation can reveal. Unearthed reporters found garments from Next, George, Asda, and Marks and Spencer in the wetlands, home to 3 species of sea turtles. The clothes were in or close to 2 recently established dump sites filled with used clothing inside an internationally recognized wetland, and now are outside of Ghana's capital city, Accra. So locals complain that their fishing nets, waterways, and beaches are clogged with synthetic fast fashion exported to Ghana from UK and Europe. And a third dump on the banks of the river leading to the conservation site, unearthed reporters found garments from M&S, Zara, H&M, and Primark. The fashion labels acknowledge that the industry faces challenges around processing textile waste. M&S, George, and Primark said they run take-back schemes and help address the issue. H&M, Zara, and George said that they would support an extended producer responsibility framework to hold labels accountable for their products' end-of-life impact. So this is one of the protected wetlands, and there was just piles of waste sitting on strips of the vegetation. It was close to the lagoons and streams, and the dump is unlined and has no visible pollution mitigation systems. So it just basically infiltrated the land, basically. It goes on to explain that Ghana is the world's largest importer of used clothing and has been titled the grim title of the global fast fashion graveyard. So about 15 million items of discarded garments arrive each week, and the UK sent more fashion waste to Ghana last year, so about 57 tons according to the UN trade data, than to any other country except to the UAE, which is a hub for re-export. But local officials estimate that 40% of each bale is unusable, torn, stained, or unsuitable for the climate. And basically, if you don't know what bales are, the clothing are sent into Ghana in huge bales, and they open it up and they don't know what they're going to find. But essentially, these huge packages of used clothing end up being mostly unusable. Like 40% of it is damaged. It has stains, torns, it's unsuitable, right? So it needs a lot of care, it needs a lot of washing, a lot of love for it to actually work out. But if you're a seller or limited on time, you're probably not going to do that, so you just toss it, right? So this overspill has overwhelmed Accra, which has created shocking scenes of tangled clothes, carpet city beaches, and lined canals and mounds so massive they resemble cliffs. So they're basically saying there's textile mountains or textile cliffs, there's clothing in beaches, there's clothing everywhere. It's being dumped every single place. And they say we used to see alligators, bush cats, all kinds of birds and rabbits too. Now when it rains, there are so many mosquitoes, and the smell, it's very bad. It's ruined their agriculture, basically, their ecosystem. So dumping or what? It says dumping of refuse? Huh? Wait, what does that say? Dumping of refuse at any part of the wetland contravenes best international conservation protocol, says Eric Gatasukusi, Wetlands Operations Manager at Ghana's Forestry Commission. The thing is, like, a very good question that asks is, like, who dumped these things at the protected conservation areas? Like, I don't think it's, like, the brands themselves that are going to Ghana in person with a representative and, like, dumping this intentionally at conservation areas of Ghana. But I do think that these brands are semi-aware that a lot of their clothing, after it's purchased, is ending up in Ghana. And so a lot of times they're like, oh, that's not our fault. Like, we didn't purposely take it there. Like, we didn't do this on purpose. But the result of them having no clear circular plan for their items just incentivizes that people buy things and then just, like, throw it away or give it away to a donation shop that then sells it off to a company that sends it to Ghana. And that's why they're like, oh, we can have a take back program where we can, like, have people, you know, bring their stuff back so it doesn't end up in these places. But, like, do we really know what happens to the clothing? No, it's, like, literally out of our hands once we donate it. And we just trust that they're doing the right thing. But, like, where's the data to back it up is my question with take back programs. Like, Crocs recently made a take back program that I'm going to get into today as well. So keep staying tuned, keep watching. But it's just a lot of brands don't have a plan for after things are purchased. They're like, yeah, it's bought, the end. And then they continue to do more and more collections, and it's like, buddy, that's, like, not the end of the story here. And so a lot of, like, sustainable fashion designers and, like, creatives who care about circularity, sustainability, like, the planet, they're like, oh, we have to think about the full picture, like, not only after it's purchased, but, like, reusing it again. So it's like a full circle. I don't know if you guys have seen that framework. I'm sure you have. I'll just pull it up for funsies over here just because I guess I'm doing good on time. It's almost 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna go on a break really soon. Pick circular fashion, pick I guess you can use this, like, we always want things to be circulating around so it's constantly being reused versus, like, thrown away. I guess this is a simple let me do this one. It's a simple one. So first you have the materials, you cut and sew, you sell it obviously, so this is where the brand is at, and then it's bought, right? we can't guarantee how much it's going to be used, or where it's going to be used, or where it's going to end up, right? Because sometimes something can be gifted or shared, it can be donated and then sold, and like it has multiple lives, right? We never really know the details because it's not being reported or whatever, but maybe sadly it ends up at a thrift store or in a landfill. But most of the times the clothing that's ending up in Ghana is clothing that was donated to a thrift store, and then it was sent to Ghana through this third party textile recycler company, whatever, and it ends up infiltrating their precious land. But brands don't really take care of the fact that they have responsibility of like the reuse or repair or the repurpose. Like, they have no real incentive to like take care of it here. So some brands are like, yeah, give it back to us so this can happen. But like, we don't really know what they're doing with the things they take back. Some of them resell it, some of them upcycle it. But the goal is to always keep the clothing circulating in the world for as long as it can live, right? So the Greenpeace Africa has done a lot of like investigations of like understanding the clothing that's in Accra's textile dumps, and they discovered that a lot of the stuff there is from synthetic fibers, which it takes millions and millions and hundreds of years to like decompose. We made it too good for some reason. It's made from petroleum, and they say it takes centuries to break down, releasing microplastics and chemicals as they decompose. And dump sites visited and verified by unearthed as containing mostly textile waste covered 40 hectares, the equivalent of about 50 football pitches, according to a model trained on Pictura, a AI platform. So basically, in sum, a lot of uncompostable fibers. It's going to take forever to break down, and just a lot of bad plastic chemicals in the earth. And it's just covering so much land because there's just so much being taken over there. It's overwhelming them. And they actually have one of the biggest secondhand clothing markets in the world. I've touched on this in a past live stream, I think in Thursday's live stream, but I like to reemphasize the same thing over and over again, because this is what's happening if we stay complacent. Just because you donate something does not make it the right choice. Donation does not equal a good choice. It doesn't make you a good person to donate. It doesn't make you a savior in the midst of everything. Like, just because you gave away your clothing to a shop doesn't mean it went to a home. Like, most of the stuff that thrift stores receive, they don't have the capacity or like the staff to sell quickly. So most of it is sold to a textile recycling company that sends it to Ghana and to like all these other places. It's just thrift stores fail to tell you that because they just benefit from making these secret deals with the textile recycling companies that only pay them by the cents per pound. By the way, I've worked in so many different thrift stores, and they only sell like so like the textile recycling companies only pay like maybe 10 cents per pound, and every garbage bag is maybe like 4, 5, 6 pounds or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit heavier with coats or whatever, but most of the time, like one plastic garbage bag full of clothing can probably get them like 50 cents to $1, something like that. So if they donate like 100 bags worth, they only get $100-ish. So it's not a lot that the thrift store makes from working with these textile recycling companies, but they just want to get rid of all this excess that they don't have the capacity to deal with. And sadly enough, in Catamanto, which is again the biggest secondhand clothing market in the world, there was a huge fire that broke out. I also cover this in another live stream. I should probably keep track of what happened or if there's any updates, but basically it destroyed 60% of the market. It affected 10,000 people. So I do really feel for like the sellers that have to be dealing with all this secondhand goods. It's a messy business, man. It's just like a lot of used items. It's just nasty. Oh my god, look at the baby goats at the landfill. That says an older textile dump site that's in Denzu Delta, protected wetlands. Oh no. It's upriver from the wetlands, so it's close by. Not the goats. Not the goats. It says traders here say that increasingly many of the garments in the bills are unusable as they are stained or have damages by use or in the donation sorting process. That's the thing too, like a lot of thrift stores easily say no to things that are stained or nasty, but they still sell it to these textile recycling companies who then sell it and ship it over to Ghana. So I think it's just good to know, like, if you didn't wash your clothing, someone in Africa may be smelling your sweat because you refused to wash your clothing before you donated it. So by washing and ironing your clothing, there is an increase that it sells in the store because the manager or like the associates are like, oh, that's a cool piece, I think it's good to sell, right? But most of the stuff that's dirty or stained, no one wants that. So they like sell it off to someone else, and they sell it off to someone else, but they're like, we don't want that either. So even if you're like the poorest person on the earth, if you see something stinky, dirty, you don't want it. Like, why would you think that's okay to donate in the first place? So I'm just talking to the society right now, not to anyone specific, but like, kind of makes sense. You shouldn't be giving someone something dirty and ugly if you're not gonna wear it yourself like that. So, but yeah, they also report that there's a lot of cheap, low quality materials, a lot of fading, peeling, tearing, because it's fast fashion. It's meant to do that. And also, people are less likely to take care of a garment that was bought for a few pounds to be worn only once or twice. Yeah. Sadly enough, that's the culture of fast fashion. We've created this culture where we have baby goats running around in textile waste that's close by to a conservation site in Africa, in Ghana. Like, that's what we've come to. So when I criticize greed and when I criticize fast fashion brands, this is like the reality if we don't. If we just stay complacent, this is what's happening. If we take our little money and don't think about anything, these are the consequences. And we say, oh, capitalism can make our dreams come true. Okay, it does. Maybe sometimes you have a comfortable life. At what cost, though? Like, look at this. Do they deserve this? I don't think so. You may be like, oh, it's just a textile dump. That's where stuff is supposed to be at. That's what it's supposed to look like. Maybe those goats are just wandering around. They're walking past, right? And the textile dumping is not touching the conservation site. But like, what is the quality of life for those surrounded by this? Do you think it's going to boost morale? Do you think it's actually going to like affect people positively? It's not. No matter if they're living near it or passing by or it's secluded. But if there's goats there, most likely people's lives are surrounded by this stuff and they have to deal with it on the daily. And they smell it. It's mosquitoes everywhere. They don't even got birds anymore. Where's the alligators? No, they don't got any. For what? For fast fashion? Like, for fast fashion? Oh, it makes me so mad that I start laughing. That's how I cope. I get so pissed when I read these articles because it's like, for all this for this? Fast fashion did all of that for this to end up there? Like, it makes no sense. Someone else said that many garments and bundles are a complete waste. Says Amma, Helena's second trader. So we leave them in a pile here at the market after the close of each day. See? They don't even want it. Okay, I'm gonna finish this article soon, and then I'm gonna like take a break. And we should all take a break. But oh, she adds that we spend so much money to buy these bills, but we are unable to sell the unused clothing and make our money back. And then Solomon, which is the head of Accra's waste management department, told Unearth that every week about 50 trucks carrying shipping containers arrive at the Catamanto market, each packed with 400 bales. What's 400 times 50? Because I suck at math. 400 times 50. What the heck's? How much is that? 400 bales times 5 trucks. That's 2,000 bales. 2,000 bales. And 40% of that is unused. So that's 800 bales of pure trash every week. 800 bales every week is dumped. This amounted to over 1,100 tons of used clothes a week. Jesus Christ. And again, more than 40% of clothing in each bale can't be sold. It's trash, waste, and eventually ends up in our shores. Oh no. Dang. And again, it's like overconsumption. We're just like buying and buying. But I think it's brands to blame. They're overproducing and pushing these things on us. And I get it. Like, we can feel FOMO or feel this like pressure to buy the latest trend or whatever. But it's not doing us or anyone any good, you know? So this is the protected wetlands. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's Gorgina. It's Gorgina. And it's called the Ramsar Site, a wetland of international importance under the Convention of Wetlands. They are home to 3 species of turtles and various native and migratory bird species. Oh. And we want to pollute that with fast fashion? Oh my god. See, I think the question here is like, who do we blame? I don't think it's the consumers, like I said. I do think it's more so like there is no framework. Like, fashion brands are not following a circular fashion framework, first of all. But also, it's like consumers don't maybe feel an obligation to pressure brands to do anything, you know? Or there's like no take-back system of any sort. They may just throw it away in a landfill. Maybe they don't know, maybe us consumers don't know how to reuse, repair, or repurpose items. But at the end of the day, like, I think we need to focus on the brand. The brand is the one that's making us push to buy. They push us. They're little bullies. So we do need to hold brands accountable, or else nothing is really going to change. But that also takes governmental and policy change as well. Like, everything is so interconnected, man. Like, if you're ever feeling lonely, just look at these photos and be like, dang, we really did that, you know? Like, somehow my dirty t-shirt ended up in Ghana, and then you won't feel so lonely because you'll realize that we're part of this collective. You know? We collectively destroyed conservation efforts. And then you'll feel part of something, maybe, finally. And then individualism will die. Right? Is that how it works? No. I'm being sarcastic. Very sarcastic person over here. Okay, so I do think that here's some, okay, more examples of textile waste buried in the sand and wetlands. It keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. Bruh. That thing is not decomposing. It looks fresh. If you wash that, it's gonna be good. Oh my gosh. Zara jeans are in there. Give those a little wash. It'll be the next vintage hit. It's found in an older textile dump on the Denzi River. It's on a river? Why would you put a textile dump on the river? Who's doing this? And it says local businesses has suffered as waste pollution spreads to recreational areas. So the BEZO Beach Resort has textile waste that washes ashore. So they do a lot of cleaning, normally use clothes, but also blankets, tablecloths, and the sea will bring it in. Oh gosh. It is very, very heavy. Sometimes they have about 10 people pulling it. Jesus. Dang. And it says that his team had to spend an average of 4 hours a day cleaning textile waste and plastic bottles from the beach. Resort staff burn the collected waste every week. Oh my gosh, imagine if that's your job. I would feel so bad if that was your job. I'd be like, as a Western consumer, I'm so sorry, you know? Here is the supervisor at that resort we were talking about. Stands in the pile of the textile waste collected from the beach. Dang, they do this every week? Or every day? At 4 hours a day. Jesus. That's a lot of stuff for a day. 4 hours? Dang. It's a dangerous work. We don't know what chemicals are in textile waste. Yeah, that's what happens when you put a lot of chemicals in the synthetic stuff. Oh my goodness. And the fish are eating it? Oh no. Okay, so Mark and Spencer, a spokesperson, said the company does not send excess clothing to any other country or landfill. So if you notice, they're blaming the consumer basically. We're not the ones sending the stuff there. It wasn't us. We didn't directly do this. But it says we take our responsibility to provide end-of-life options for our clothes seriously and offer our customer options to give their clothes another life with our recently launched repair services and our in-store take-back recycling schemes. So they give a solution, which is better than nothing, obviously. Like, some of them have zero waste policies, which is what Asda did, or George, which is Asda's clothing brand. I'm not personally familiar with George, but they do have some options, which is better than anything. But they do provide too much clothing. An H&M jacket, textile dump on the Denzhou River. A garment from Asda. Do you think they'll want to take it back if it's in Ghana? No, right? It's just a lot of brands are making so much collections, it's crazy. But I am getting heavily overstimulated from this, but hopefully this gave you a better idea of what's happening. These images are shocking. They're unsettling. It's frustrating for me to say the very least. Like, look, these are where people sleep. This is where they live. Their little cute yard right here. And then you got this. Waste, 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 waste. Little river, waste. Home, waste. River, waste. Like, it's just not a vibe. It's just not a vibes. Like, we don't need to be doing this. I need to, like, scold brands. Be like, sit down, mijo. Stop it. Just stop it. But yeah, hopefully you learned something. It's been on the back of my mind every time I speak about fast fashion. This is like the consequences of having no clear infrastructure, no policy change. Our earth is literally dying. We're destroying local communities, and we're just shipping a lot of textile waste to the most vulnerable under the name of capitalism. But I'm gonna go on a quick break. Gonna get something to eat, something to drink, keep cool under this weather. I'll be back in 5 minutes. 5 minutos. 5 minutos. Okay, I'll be back. Bro, it's always the commercials. I'll be back.
Ready to enter your digital marketing era? Constant Contact's marketing platform offers email, social media, SMS, and more to help you score revenue, build relationships with your audience, and become a household name. Get hundreds of plug-and-play email templates complete with branding pulled directly from your website and AI writing assistance, so you can get up and sending in no time. Build your contact list with easy-to-navigate sign-up forms. Then, view your campaign reporting in one consolidated dashboard, so you can make business decisions that make sense. Running a business is hard. Marketing it shouldn't be. Get started today at ConstantContact.com.
This
Okay, I'm back. I think I made it past the timer, but it's fine. It's okay. I think you saw my Hello Kitty PJs. Oops. I was actually watching the news with my family, and they were like saying how recently they made a law that all the people that are truck drivers need to speak English. It's kind of racist, isn't it? Why did they make it that law for? Here, let's look at that and look it up. I cannot see. I live in a city that's predominantly logistic field. Like, a lot of people work in factories. So this will affect my community specifically. New law, English speakers for truckers. I think this is like a racist policy, to be honest. The Trump's English proficiency orders. What the heck's? Yeah, this is definitely white-coded policy change. I cannot get a break, can I? Like, go to eat and I see another racist thing happening. Truckers Way having to pass English tests to drive in the US. Oh no.
At this truck stop near the Otay Mesa port of entry, support for the idea of making sure all truck drivers have basic English skills is split right down the middle. Some believe it's a good idea, while others say it really will not make our highways any safer. The sight of trucks coming and going in Otay Mesa is fairly common. Most are on their way to or from the nearby port of entry. You'll also find some rigs and their drivers.
Technical difficulties. My AirPods are not working. I have like the weirdest audio AirPods stuff happening. They're not disconnecting for some reason. Yeah, they're so janky. Okay, they're back. Perfect. Let's hear it. Let's hear this mofo.
At area truck stops. This is where we found Alfonso Hernandez and others talking about President Trump's executive order mandating all truck drivers in the U.S. must speak and understand basic English.
At least some English.
Hernandez supports the idea, which will force drivers to pass an English literacy test, making the roadways safer, according to the president.
All the truckers know English. Going to be better for everyone.
But not everyone agrees with Hernandez or President Trump.
The way we speak has nothing to do with our ability to handle a tractor trailer.
Kelvin is a truck driver who works in both Mexico and the U.S. Like other truckers, Kelvin will soon have to show he can understand traffic signs, communicate with law enforcement, and navigate agricultural checkpoints and weight limit stations. Some states like Arkansas already have similar requirements, with fines of up to $10,000 for truckers who don't comply.
The aggressive way they're doing it, from one day to the next, the fines they're talking about in social media, It's something too strict and worrisome.
Kelvin and others would like President Trump to change his mind.
Le pido que sea considerado con otros choferes.
I'm asking him to be considerate. We're all part of the commerce along the border, and we're only trying to do the best job possible.
The Trump administration has yet to announce how it will enforce the executive order dealing with truckers who may not have the desired English skills. Salvador Rivera, Border Report.
Damn, Trump is really saying, well, it sucks to suck. If you don't know English, what the heck are you doing here? You can't work here. He wants to make America great again. I feel like he wants to give real work to real Americans. I don't think they need English to drive a truck. Like, inherently, language doesn't matter. If you know, like, the roads, you pass the laws, like the tests, like, go for it, right? I do think there is a bit of communication that you have to, like, transmit over, like, their speakers to other, like, truckers to make sure everything is fine. Now that can be a problem if they don't know how to speak English. But if it's a majority Spanish speaking industry, then they can just speak Spanish to each other. But I mean, maybe they need, like, basic English, right? Like, just in cases, if anything happens. They do live in the United States after all. I feel like they know some words, right? I would assume. But to make it a law, I think that's just, like, too much. You're gonna force someone to speak English? Like, that's just crazy. Bro, it's a melting pot here. I just find it, like, icky too that they want English to be the thing. Like, I don't even think English is, like, the official language of the United States. It's just doing too much. If they can do their job, and they've been doing their job, then, like, where did this come from? And my city relies on logistics. Warehouse Workers for Justice is a really great site that I go and turn to for more knowledge of, like, what's happening in my city. But I have trucks coming in and out of my city all the time. It's not great for our lungs, but it gives my community jobs. Here, they had a great report recently. I wonder where they put it. They constantly change their website. It's kind of annoying. But, okay, reports and research. They did an annual report breaking down, like, what's happening in our city because of the trucks. I think it's this one that I saw that was a really good breakdown. For good jobs and clean air. But yeah, they come from more of an environmental lens of understanding the effects of trucks on our on our community, but it's like the pollution that's heavily impacting us and creating asthma. So I most likely have asthma tendencies because of all the stuff that I've inhaled. And it's Amazon that's benefiting from these trucking industries. So I wonder if Amazon had anything to do with this, like, English speaking rhetoric. You know, it's low-key racist at the end of the day. But yeah, I do live at the front lines of environmental racism, so I wouldn't be surprised. It's just like the president and his politicians making us just a bit more sad and unhappy in our lives so they can make their millions, you know? See? Look at all the pollution they give off. It's an entirely different problem, but, like, let them do their job, I guess. I mean, if you can stop it in some, like, that'd be great, but let the Latinos keep their dang job. Let the Latinos make the pollution for us, not the white people. I mean, it's still bad overall. Like, I would just wish trucks didn't exist in the first place, but if you're gonna give someone a job, give it to the Latinos. But if they've been doing their job in the first place without English, then what is this English thing, you know? So that took me so by surprise when I was eating. I was like, bro, what is going on? What is going on? that was an immediate reaction. Obviously, there's a lot more conversations to have on that, so I'll bring it up in the next live stream. But to get into other stuff, there's been a lot of news that the EU ditched plans on anti-greenwashing rules. So the European Commission is abandoning regulation that would have required companies to back up green claims following pressure from conservative lawmakers. It sounds like I'm crying. It's just like I drink soda and all the gas is in my chest, which happens all the time. That's annoying. So they're not going to require companies to back up green claims following the pressure from conservative lawmakers. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Where is the read feature? Blah, 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 blah.
Weekly Sustainability Newsletter. Sign up now to understand how to do better by people and the planet from Chief Sustainability Correspondent Sarah Kent. Plus, access one complimentary BOF professional article of your choice each month. Subscribe. Receive news, offers, and invites from BOF. Our newsletters may include third-party advertising. By subscribing, you agree to the terms and conditions and privacy policy. The European Commission said Friday it will scrap a proposed law targeting corporate greenwashing, the latest sign that regulatory momentum around sustainability initiatives is stalling. The abrupt decision, announced just ahead of negotiations to finalize the legislation, comes amid a broad-based push by conservative policymakers in Brussels to simplify red tape and focus on the trading bloc's economic competitiveness. The current discussions around the proposal go against the Commission's simplification agenda, EC spokesperson Maciej Berestecki said in an email. It is therefore the Commission's intention to withdraw the Green Claims legislative proposal. The Green Claims Directive was put forward in 2023 and aimed to stamp out fluffy and misleading eco-marketing of products like clothes and cosmetics. Under the proposed regulation, companies would have had to back up any green claims using defined and comparable criteria. The Commission said it is still committed to tackling greenwashing, pointing to other policy initiatives focused on the issue that are still in the works. Still, the sudden pullback blindsided many who had been following the legislation closely and raised concerns about what other bills might end up on the chopping block. The risk now is that companies are left to contend with a complicated patchwork of national regulations governing green claims, said Pascal Moreau, founder of Brussels-based consultancy Ohana Public Affairs.
Well. Oh my gosh. Why am I not disappointed? It just feels like this is a reflection of where we're at right now. Like, we just literally went from like Trump's government forcing a language on someone to now Europeans being like, yeah, so actually we don't need to know if a brand's lying. Does it really matter if a corporate greenwashing initiative is happening? My immediate thought is like, who is behind this? Because like it's concerning. Who are these conservative politicians? Because I do think they wield very important positions with a lot of power to like literally set back a policy, set back legislation. Oh my god, how did this happen? The EU just has failed us. I feel like they're just gonna continue selling us random stuff and they're gonna get away with it. Like, I literally feel like throwing up reading this article. Like, you have so many questions of who, how, when, and why. Why they, like, not try to target corporate greenwashing anymore. It's like, do they genuinely believe brands are not lying to us? Because at the end of the day, like, they are. And there's a reason why there was a law being passed, and a reason why brands and politicians pushed back or pushing for it. What it depends on what side you were, obviously, like whether you want it or not, but they just be trying to get rid of anything that's good to hold brands accountable, huh? I feel like the European Commission is failing us. Did they just get bought out? Like, how did that conversation go? Did the brands go up to them with their respectable politicians and be like, yo, you work for us, so stop it. Stop being a good person. Just let us do our greenwashing, you know? Why does it not say anything with this? What's the deal? What's the plan? Corporate greenwashing. I don't see anything on YouTube. Sorry if I'm boring today. It's just the heat is like 95 degrees and it's like messing with my brain, and I'm trying my best to keep up. If my live streams suck during the summer, I get it. Okay? I get it. I know I suck right now. No, I'm kidding. It's just I can't think clearly. Yeah, I can't do much with it. I don't see nothing. Why isn't no one making any videos on this? It's annoying. How are we supposed to be informed consumers? How are we gonna know what's happening? See, the thing is with me, I'm always complaining about no YouTube videos. It's just let me watch them and talk about this. Like, give me something to learn from. Okay. Business of fashion. Make a video, please. But yeah, I have a lot of questions, and obviously they're not gonna get answered if no one else is talking about it, and a very limited amount of people are actually pushing this out for us to learn. So I'll try to do a bit more digging. It's just I didn't see anything off the bat, which is maybe not as surprising as I would like to make it out, because it's kind of notorious that we only focus on like fast fashion or like the latest collections, latest fashion shows. And then when it comes to the serious stuff, I'm like, ugh, boring. Or like everyone else is just like, ugh, whatever. Like, why would a pretty little magazine try to talk about anti-greenwashing rules? That's not cute. It's not cute whatsoever. Bruh. Okay, talking about cute though, to get into some fun stuff. Do you want to hear some fun stuff? So, Miu Miu is actually going to do an upcycled capsule. Whoa. That's fun. That's fun. Ooh, pretty, right? This is fashion. So they say they're bringing new life to pre-loved garments, and they're giving them a modern twist. So apparently, Miu Miu is known for its playful rebellion. It's like the edgy little sister, the girl who pairs a slip dress with distressed sneakers. Okay. This is so corny. So corny. What are they talking about? And apparently they're rewriting the rule. I cannot take this seriously. Now they're doing an upcycled by Miu Miu collection, launched as part of the Miu Miu's commitment to sustainability. The collection focuses on bringing new life to pre-loved garments, giving them a modern twist. So there's going to be lace slips, deconstructed denim, hand-finished outerwear. That's nostalgia, but reworked, and of course, entirely Miu Miu. These are not my words. This is the article, okay? I need a soda break. This is just a lot of fluff right now. I'm like losing my voice. Ugh. Okay, so originally launched in 2020 with a small edit of repurposed military jackets and vintage denim, Miu Miu's upcycle initiative has since evolved into something much more. No longer just a capsule, it's now a defining part of the house's DNA. In this creative space, heritage fabrics meet experimental silhouettes and innovative craftsmanship, rewriting nostalgia with a modern edge. what the heck did they just say? I don't know. But they did do an upcycle collection back in 2020. Good to know. And they say that Miu Miu's decision to lean into pre-loved materials feels both refreshing and relevant and impossibly chic. A deliberate shift away from the new for new's sake model and towards something more intimate, personal, and circular. This is it. Wow, all that hype for this? It's a shirt. Wow. So that they say that each piece is crafted from vintage garments and reimagined by Miu Miu's ateliers with great attention to detail. Think oversized collars, edge and delicate lace. I can't. Wait. Think oversized collars, edged and... I can't. I feel like my voice leaves every time I try to like fluff stuff up. Let me try. Think oversized collars and delicate lace, blazers reworked from dead stock wool, and mini dresses that carry the faded glow of another era. No two pieces are alike, and that's exactly the point. Oh my god, I'm gonna stop reading this. Okay, so they have an upcycle collection. That's basically it. That's basically it. I actually really like Miu Miu stuff. It's cute. It's kind of like minimalist, but like it has a crafty, almost like subliminal creativity, if I would say. There's just a lot of stripes. There's a lot of stripes, but I do want to see if there's like more we can look into about their other pieces. I'm kind of curious what they made. Let's see. Miu Miu. Miu Miu. Why is it not loading? Come on. Okay, there we go. Reject it. I like the denim pieces. I don't support consumerism. If you need to buy this, you can buy it. Like if it's a need, or if you feel like you'd keep this for years to come, like go for it. I'm not your mom, right? This is kind of cute. What are her eyes? Is that an AI model? She looks like an AI model. Wait, are these AI models? Why they look dead? She looks like there's no life in their eyes. Hello? Oh. Why is this disturbing? They do look AI. If they're not, then what are these expressions? Why do they look so weird? Oh no. Oh, that's kind of creepy. Oh gosh. I do think these are AI. Does it say? Wait, let me see. So for the first time, Miu Miu's upcycled project includes bags. They have a patch bag collection made out of leather remnants from Miu Miu designs. Okay. I still want to know if they're AI. Huh? Actor Ever Anderson and model Yuja Shein bring new life to the Miu Miu Upcycle Collection 2024 collection. So they're real models. Okay, they just look weird. Okay. So sorry for these girls. Actually, you're beautiful. It's just for a second. I did not know what I was looking at. I did not know what I was looking at. So these are the pieces. Interesting. Cool. Let's see this. Black screen of death. It was very pixelated for no reason. That was kind of creepy. I'm very confused. It's giving a weird vibe. The thing is, they don't really talk about sustainability within their videos or messaging. Oh, what is this? I thought I could capture people at their most unguarded. Okay. That's about photography. Wait, are these themes? So the exclusive collection, created in collaboration with costume, production, and set designer Catherine, transforms authentic vintage garments into one-of-a-kind pieces. Nautical motifs, fine fabrics, and embroidery come together in a sartorial, I don't know how to say that word, that interprets vintage clothes, reveals that many shades of femininity are the protagonists of the short film Grand Envy. Oh. There's a lot of branding issues. What is going on? First it was AI, weird vibes. Now it's characters in a film. They don't talk about sustainability, do they? That's fine. Doesn't matter, I guess. They got the singer. I think they are trying to like reach a lot of different archetypes. Maybe that's what's happening. Different sort of people. Trying to get the writer, the singer, the actor, the countess. A lot of different themes going on here. These $6,000 for a dress? You gotta be crazy. This is definitely not something I can afford. That's for sure. I can make this at home. $5,000 for a jersey slip dress? That's crazy. I can make this. I can make this. Yeah, I can make this. Wait, why would you spend $5,000 on a dress for? It's a simple, unbiased question. Why? Why? Does this brand really mean something to someone? You know? It's not worth $7,500. Oh my gosh, you have too much cash if you're buying this. It's giving me some perspective here. Okay, okay. I want to know who made this Upcycled collection. I don't really care about the film. I don't care about the AI. I want to know who made them. You know? And I didn't see anything, even though it says they care about conscious fashion, circular design practices, they like giving new life to vintage items. They want to make a story between the people who wear the garments to the past and those who can add on to it in their wardrobe in the present and the future. And it doesn't say who and how they upcycle this. So if we can get some garment workers in here, that'd be great. That'd be great. But I did have some other points I wanted to mention before I move on. I mean, I love the shorts. They're cool, but they probably cost like more than I'll ever have in my bank account. I mean, the good thing is that more upcycled fashion is happening. Obviously, like these brands are cool, you know, they're cool vibes. Upcycled luxury is not something I'm totally against. It's just the prices are so inaccessible that I'm just like, who's buying this? Who's able to afford this? So if this is a solution against fast fashion, like I think the demographic will be like the wealthy, more like classist people that care about brands. Like, why else would you spend $5,000 if it's not for the brand, you know? If the brand wasn't on there, would you spend $5,000 on that red shirt? Probably not. But a lot of free solutions do exist with circular fashion, with sustainability, which is like clothing swaps, you know, mending, upcycling. You can reinvent stuff all the time at home. Like if you have a denim jacket or a top or jeans that you no longer want, like we can try cutting it up and trying to do this top, or putting some embellishment on a hat or on a jacket. Like we can do this ourselves, you know? Like we don't have to spend like $5,000 to create a similar or familiar look. And they're very feminine, you know? Like upcycling doesn't have to be ugly. I do think they had the privilege of having like luxury denim as a resource. They added velvet materials here. They had like the logo here. But I think this is all stuff we can do at home, you know? Have that little vintage feminine vibes for cheap. But yeah, my big question is like, who made these? They're really skilled people. They made things look so expensive. So most likely it was like artisans, you know? But I don't really know. I don't know. I do also wonder like where they got the vintage MIU MIU stuff from, or the vintage clothing. So very good questions, very good deliberation, but no concrete answers. So hopefully they can expand. But I am not buying this. But this is a good step forward. I think this is a good step. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to like see if this is a good thing or a bad thing. That's what my mind is always turning to. Like, is this a good thing? Maybe it is. It's highly inaccessible with the price, but it's a good thing. And hopefully they continue on with like policy change or more proactive step and like fixing the entire system. You know, if they got that rebellious spirit, might as well step up, use that rebellion for something. You know, gotta use some luxury fashion power to pressure our politicians, right? But I mean, I like the pieces. It's just if they're not doing like more than collections, it's just more stuff. And the prices, man, the prices. That's just what gets to me. The prices. I do want to go on ahead and move towards this. It is about Vogue launching a social initiative. So basically, British Vogue has launched a new editorial and social initiative alongside eBay and Nike that hopes to delve into fashion through a cultural lens, exploring its impact on transformation and inclusion across workplaces and communities, and it's been dubbed Vogue Values. A year-long project aimed to highlight 4 topics, which is sustainability, women's health, equitable access to creativity and representation in fashion through editorial features, social media content, and events. The program kicks off with an inaugural campaign, Fashion is for Everyone, featuring ambassadors like model Jordan Dunn, who will also share a personal essay about her experiences with discrimination and limited representation in British Vogue's July edition. And the campaign itself was created in collaboration with 2 charities. Vogue said, Smart Works provides clothing and coaching to women for job interviews, while Gives Your Best serves as a platform donating clothing directly to women who are refugees. In a statement, Kirsty, Senior Director of European Fashion at eBay, said Vogue Values reflected the marketplace's commitment to making fashion more circular, conscious, and culturally relevant. She added, over the past few years, we worked to shift perceptions, reframing pre-love not just accessible, but as aspirational and style-driven. So this initiative mirrors a broader shift in fashion where sustainability, inclusivity, and creativity are becoming essential. As a leader in pre-loved fashion, eBay is proud to stand alongside Vogue in driving these conversations and using both industry influence and editorial storytelling to create meaningful change. Wow. Okay, Vogue Values. Out of sheer curiosity, before I share my main takeaways from this, let's see if anyone else is covering this, because if we're not covering this, then what's the point? James Charles, no, babes, no. Do not want to see your rise and fall. Oh, so this has been out. Vogue Values? This has been a thing. They say it's a new thing, but it's been a thing. Interesting. So they just like gave up on it 5 years ago, and now that it's coming back? Now it's coming back, huh? I don't see it anywhere. It's called Vogue Values, their new initiative. Apparently it was a thing that they did 5 years ago, but they gave up on it. Let's see. Vogue Values. What is this? Yeah, this is something they've done in the past and they keep giving up on it. Interesting. Let's watch this. Black screen, come on, you got this. Come on.
On the cover of Vogue that sort of has your own name on the label. It's a huge honour, I'm a mother of 4 as well, which I think is celebrated in the issue. And I have over 80% women working at Stella McCartney that are mothers as well, a lot of them. And I think it gives off an incredible message, really, that fashion is kind of coming to the conversation that's critical now on climate crisis. And I'm so proud that I represent that really in the industry. I think it's great that American Vogue and Vogue in general is really taking on these issues. I think it just shows that these are not a trend and that they're actually part of the future of fashion. So I'm incredibly honored, and I feel like it's something we've done from day one. Sustainability is at the core of everything we do, and I think to have Vogue recognize that means that you don't have to compromise any of your style and your fashion desirability to be sustainable.
I think that the fashion industry is, as Stella says, rightly at one. That Vogue, from a global perspective, is standing as one voice with, obviously their own individual takes on it. But we are, as Stella so rightly says, we're so much more powerful when we all stand together.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for me, I guess the fact that being the first sort of fashion designer that happens to be a female, a mother, and we're a sustainable business, I mean, that is extraordinary, really, when you think of the magnitude of that in the history of Vogue. That really sends out a strong message, which, to me, I'm kind of humbled by and can't even quite believe it. But at the same time, it's very brave and bold of Vogue. It's not like I'm not going to be your best-selling issue. But I think that what it says is really big. It gives out a big message. Yeah, to be one of the...
So that was back in 2019, and now they're back doing more stuff that's called Vogue Values, and they say it's new fashion for everyone, and they say it's about cultural progress, transformation, inclusion, which is what they were talking about back in 2019. And as part of their commitment, they will have this campaign highlighting the importance of breaking down barriers that have historically excluded people from fully participating in fashion and self-expression, and spotlighting the ongoing crisis in clothing poverty. Vogue Values is about redefining who gets seen, heard, and celebrated in fashion. The goal is not just to talk about change, but to help drive it in wardrobes, workplaces, and communities. This is an important moment for British Vogue to recommit to creativity with consciousness and to ensure that the people shaping the future of fashion reflect the world as it truly is. So they're partnering with SmartWorks, which gives clothing and coaching to unemployed women, and then Give Your Best, which is an online platform that allows women and children, including refugee, asylum seekers, and those escaping domestic violence, to access clothing. So that's super cool. I do have a lot of thoughts. One of them is that British Vogue has been notoriously the leader of fashion, and they often value and uplift Eurocentric ideals, especially beauty ideals, specifically within fashion. They usually choose skinny models that are white or white presenting or whitewashed, and it's very like thin models they just don't seem to eat. So that's been the history. I do think it's changing as more people want more diversity, more inclusion, and I think that's why it came back. Even though they had similar things back in 2019, I do think they recognize there's a demand. But I feel like a lot of the damage of like colonialism and Eurocentrism in fashion has been also perpetuated by major brands. Like, they've been part of the picture. They have literally shaped how we see fashion and how we belong in the industry, and like how we belong with ourselves and our identity with fashion. So I do think they have been a damaging player in the midst of everything. But I kind of feel icky that they want to, like, in a way, make themselves a thought leader in sustainability, because they want to like change the industry, more inclusive, whatever. I get that, like, they're trying to like change the shift to change, but they've just upheld so much like Eurocentric beauty and like ideals and like standards that I don't think will change overnight. Hopefully it changes for the better with these sort of campaigns. But they didn't really specify, if you notice, like what this fashion for everyone campaign really consists of. They did mention it was going to be like a magazine cover for someone, which they did for Stella McCartney like last 2019. So hopefully this campaign is more than just a magazine feature, or more than just a front page cover, or more than just like a interview with ABC. Like hopefully it's like actually real change, like they say that it is. And it's also interesting that they say fashion for everyone when they do come from a background where they rely on exclusivism and classism to sell the fashion that they do and the beauty ideals that they do. So I do think it's illuminating, like even more so, how there's a lot of weaknesses and issues in the industry that they are failing or have failed to address more explicitly. So hopefully with the features and like the pieces that they write and like the people that they feature, they can be more vocal and honest about how the fashion industry is built on colonialism and capitalism, and British people are very much part of that picture. I do think that one of the things they mentioned is that this is aspirational. Like they want people to see Pre-Loved as aspirational, which seems kind of icky for me for them to say. I don't think that Pre-Loved is aspirational when we're all technically already like living it. Like we sometimes just go around sewing a button on or mending stuff if we have those skills. I mean, I think it can be aspirational to learn how to sew a button or like sew, but the entire concept of Pre-Loved is just it can be part of our normal daily lives, like just rewearing, borrowing something used from someone else. It can be easy, it can be free. So I'm just kind of concerned when they're like, this is aspirational, because it usually means they're trying to sell us something or framing themselves as the thought leader or the expert, when this is just something that's already in existence. So also just a reminder that everything that we have in our closet is already pre-loved, pre-worn, because even if we bought it new, like if we've worn it once or twice, like technically it's been worn, so it's pre-worn. In its technicalities, everything is used once we wear it. So we're already sustainable fashion like leaders just on the fact that we're just wearing our stuff again and again and again. It's not that complicated, to be honest. It really isn't. But yeah, those are kind of like my thoughts, my immediate thoughts. But I also am very concerned about them partnering with Nike. Like, what does Nike have to do with this? Like, Nike, how is Nike gonna give us more of a cultural lens? A cultural lens through Nike? Like, the last time I checked, they were like notorious and like exploiting garment workers in the global south. Is that their cultural lens? Yeah, guys. So we actually use brown and black bodies to make our stuff. So we got that lens, that cultural lens. Is it ethical? No. Is it exploitative? Yes. So Nike partnering with Vogue just kind of shows you what we need to know about this social initiative. And if they've tried doing this in the past 6 years ago and they're just bringing it back now, it's kind of telling that they're lagging and they don't really care. But maybe it will actually make the difference for this year for them. But I feel like a lot of magazines are struggling to sell their magazines. So maybe this is just like a marketing tactic or like a business tactic. But if I don't see anyone else covering it, then I don't think it's a very popular initiative, or maybe they haven't really talked about it. They did technically do that press release, which is something, right? But no one is going around being like, oh, let me go look at this thing, right? Except for me. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see anything else. So I'm going to move on just for sake of time. I am going to close off the live stream soon. I did want to talk about, let's see. Oh, there was this outdoor festival in Denver that looked so fun. It's an outdoor festival. Very, very athletic geared. And a lot of people wore sustainable fashion. So if you want to look at that, the Canva deck will be in my description. Oh, Crocs Take Back program is coming to Europe. So if you want to return your Crocs, you can do that now in the UK. You can return your Crocs, which is better than donating it to thrift stores or throwing them in the landfill. Are those Crocs? That looks like a shoe. What the heck? Take back program, take back program. I don't think they've done any sort of visual. Why does it keep... Technical difficulties. Okay, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. The economics of Crocs. They're so ugly. I don't like Crocs whatsoever. They're nasty. I'm not a fan, to be honest. But that's just me. They're also plastic based, so they can last years, but they're not that cute. Okay, I don't see anything else that I can talk about for this, so just good to know that's happening in the UK. Okay, so there's another new study where they're showing that there's labor exploitation in Pakistani textile factories that's linked to how clothing is made. So basically, there's exploitation hidden everywhere in a lot of different industries. And so they found that there was exploitation in Pakistani textile factories, sadly enough. So a lot of good articles, but they mostly produced textiles for the European public health care. Yes. Pakistani exploitation for European public health care. I'm not going to get into the full thing. But I do want to touch on this a bit.
A new report by Swedwatch reveals that public funds used to procure hospital textiles are linked to exploitative labor practices in Pakistan's textile industry. The findings expose major gaps in the EU's public procurement rules and urge the European Commission to propose binding due diligence standards to prevent public spending from enabling human rights abuse. Pakistan is a major supplier of hospital linens and other textiles to the European market, including the Swedish healthcare sector. Yet Swedwatch's new report, Public Money, Private Harm, based on interviews with 89 workers from 9 factories in Faisalabad and Karachi, finds that EU member states such as Sweden source from factories marred by labor rights abuses. Workers report widespread exploitation. They earn far below the official minimum wage, which itself is less than half the estimated living wage. The majority work without formal contacts and receive little or no social protection if injured or sick, all while enduring excessive working hours and poor occupational safety. Workers also report about union busting and discrimination and harassment against women. The exploitation of workers in supply chains is alarmingly high, says Zia Ur Rahman, founder and chief executive of the NGO Awaz Cedius Pakistan, who partnered with Swedwatch for the on-site research. It is deeply concerning that the enforcement of local labor laws remains weak due to a crisis of governance and legitimacy in the country. He emphasized the urgent need for a combination of legal transparency in supplier contracts and purchasing agreements, targeted awareness campaigns for suppliers and workers, and participatory enforcement mechanisms to ensure full compliance with human rights due diligence standards. Factories linked to bed linen at Swedish hospitals. The factories included in the research produce items for European suppliers, among other clients, who have contracts with Swedish regions responsible for procuring hospital and healthcare textiles. Although the regions have made commendable efforts by introducing sustainability codes of conduct and contract clauses, the findings show that, without binding sustainability requirements across EU countries, procurement practices still fall short of effectively preventing, mitigating, or addressing human rights violations. Enabled by flaws in the EU's Public Procurement Directive, European taxpayer money is effectively supporting a system that rewards exploitation, undermining both human rights and fair market competition. Public procurement should be a force for good, not a subsidy for abuse, said Sophia Call, program officer at Swedwatch and leading researcher of the report. From factories to hospitals. Pakistan is an important production hub for textiles used in European public health care. In the case of Sweden, items like bed linens and uniforms are procured by Sweden's healthcare managing regions through EU-based suppliers, some large and operating across multiple countries, others small and medium-sized enterprises primarily based in Sweden. The supply chain. Enabled by flaws in the EU's Public Procurement Directive, European taxpayer money is effectively supporting a system that rewards exploitation. Driving past an industrial zone where several of Karachi's textile factories are located. Photo, Swedwatch. A case study with European relevance. Public procurement in EU member states is governed by the EU's Public Procurement Directive, adopted in 2014.
Hopefully that gave some perspective on what is happening in certain places. It's very unfortunate what's going on, obviously, and this was very surprising for me to find out. I just, for some weird reason, thought that exploitation only happened in like concrete fashion brands. I had no idea it was happening just in like textile factories in general in Pakistan. I was kind of like, I guess, an oblivious unawareness, and given everything that's happening in Pakistan, maybe these factories don't even exist, which is sad. Hopefully everyone is okay, obviously, but the infrastructure there has essentially been destroyed, and so this used to be a thing, though. This used to be a reality, and I'm just now discovering it, but we're all in a learning journey, you know, so we have to constantly be aware of what's going on and stay up to date. But I do want to get into one of the last things I am going to talk about, which is the Jeff Bezos protest in Venice. I saw this on Instagram, but basically he's trying to get married at the Venice beach, and people are like, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. It's just like there's a lot of contention right now of like the wealthy and the 1%, which I'm totally on board with. Like I hate the 1% as well. I hate them so much, but I love this like counteraction against his greed and his privilege. He looks like Lord Voldemort. He used the most horrendous photo, but I think this is genius. I think this is hilarious. And he had to like postpone his plans or something because of this. It's like brilliant. I love it so much. I love it so much. Oh my god, like.
When we started Warby Parker.
No commercial, sir. No.
Something new, something borrowed, and something to protest. That's the plan for folks living in Venice. Many are set to block the canals ahead of billionaire Jeff Bezos' wedding. The Amazon owner is set to marry on an island across from that city. Protesters unveiled a banner saying if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more taxes. They say the billionaire needs to do more to help people. Their demands include healthcare funding and reducing the impact of climate change.
Oh, that's genius. I wonder who organized it, though. Why is it that every news site is talking about this? Oh, this is when they rolled it out. They look so young. Wait, who did this? Who's the organization? UK Action Group, Everyone Hates Elon. Oh. Wait. Bruh. Let me see. Let's do some investigations. Go UK Action Group. Greenpeace joins anti-BEZO's protests. Okay, let's see. So this was done in protest of Jeff Bezos' upcoming wedding. So half a dozen protesters unfurled a giant banner early morning in St. Mark's Square reading, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. So the demonstration followed other anti-BEZO's initiatives last week, including a banner draped from the San Giorgio Bell Tower, one of the Lagoon City famous Rialto Bridge, and posters plastered up around town complaining about the upcoming wedding and the effects of over-tourism on Venice. That no space for Bezos movement, a play on words also referring to the bride's recent spaceflight, has united a dozen Venetian organizations, including housing advocates, anti-cruise ship campaigners, and university groups. It says Greenpeace said it teamed with the British group Everyone Hates Elon, which has smashed Teslas to protest Elon Musk for Monday's banner. Okay, we don't gotta smash the Teslas, okay? That's people, that's normal people stuff. They shouldn't have bought the Teslas, but like, that's just people's car. Greenpeace said it wanted to draw attention to the comparatively low tax many billionaires pay while allegedly exacerbating the climate crisis with environmentally unsustainable lifestyles. So Italian and Venetian officials have strongly criticized the protests and welcomed the Bezos-Sanchez nuptials, which are scheduled for later this week. Over the weekend, as the protesters continue to make headlines in Italy, a Venetian environmental research association, Gorilla, says Bezos' Earth Fund was supporting its work with an important donation. Oh, okay. Dang. So Gorilla, which unties university scholars in Italy's main national research council on researching Venetian protection strategies, won't say how much Bezos was donating, but noted context began in April, well before the protest started. Oh, there's tea. Drama. Dang. So the group's called No Space for Bezos. Oh, okay. Alright. Dang. I like this poster. It says, No Space for Bezos. And then it says it in their language here about the issues of over-tourism. Are people going there because he's going to get married there? Is that the thing? Very interesting. I feel like I am also against the 1%. I do think this is very justified in the midst of everything that's going on. I don't know why he would need to run out like Venice in general. Like, it's just like way too much privilege. I love this though. This is so creative and it doesn't harm anyone. And it like makes her message very clear and also very like mainstream. Like, this is just something easy to cover, you know? I low-key want to do this with like Trump or something. Go home, Trump. But some of the last things I did want to talk about before I jump off is LA is really struggling. People are afraid to go shop and be out and about. A lot of people are stepping up for them, which is amazing. Like Raíces con Voz, which is a organization in LA, has been delivering groceries to immigrants who are too afraid to leave their homes. So that's been amazing. How others are stepping up and being brave, courageous. Supporting local vendors is something that we can all do, no matter if we're in LA or not. Support your LA vendors or your local vendors, wherever you are. Support immigrants in general. They're just here to work, you know? So don't criminalize them. Oh, and then I saw this. Abolish ICE. If you know anything about Chicago, we get our tortillas in a very similar package, and a local artist re-envisioned it to be a Polish ice. He made this like a while ago. This is the creator. Here, I'll shout him out. He used to do merch, but now he no longer makes merch. But his name is Electric Stripe. I'm not logged in, so you can't see it. But Electric Stripe. I love this so much. Like, I want to print this out and probably put it in the background. Probably in my room. I think I will print it out, yeah. But yeah, I love this. It's a really a really great recreation of like the tortilla packages that I've been raised with my whole life. I love it so much. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out that design. Also, I didn't know there was a London Climate Week. Look, there's a London Climate Week. I had no idea. I don't know if this is like a legit climate action week or it's like kind of greenwash, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm following along, and there's like a lot of events, whether virtually or in person. I haven't gone to anything online, but they're going to be talking about the apparel industry. They're going to be talking about sustainable consumer brands, climate action roundtable. Very fun stuff. So if you want to tune in, that's going to be happening this entire week, the 21st, the 29th. Very exciting times. I had no idea this was something before this year. So there's that. And apparently 45,000 people go to this annually, and it's their 7th year hosting it. And it's the largest citywide climate festival in Europe. So there you go. There you go. I do wonder who they're sponsored by, or like who organizes this. But okay. So it's done by E3G in partnership with the Mayor of London. Who is they? E3G. What is that about? An independent climate change think tank with a global outlook. Don't know what that is, but that's the people behind it. There you go. And to end off, if you want to support LA garment workers that are like the leaders of the local fashion industry here in the United States, you can definitely support them by donating to the Immigrant Worker Defense Fund. I'm only mentioning this out of goodwill towards the Garment Worker Center. They do a lot of great work in LA. They are great in fighting for garment workers and stepping up for them to know their rights and provide mutual aid efforts. So if you want to support their efforts to provide mutual aid efforts, you can look up Garment Worker Center and you will find the link. And yeah, that's something I just wanted to shout out before I head on off. I think my brain is shutting off as well. Yeah. Oh my god, you can literally see me sweating. But yeah, I'm gonna jump off. Thank you everyone for joining. It was a rough live stream, at least in my head. Hopefully you took something away from it. Hopefully it made sense. I was like going in a million tangents, but it's fine because like perfection is not something that I can get tied down to. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I'll see you next Thursday, 4 p.m. at Central Time to 6:30 is around the time that I live stream. And if you want me to talk about anything, fill out the form. Until next time, see ya. Bye. Take it easy. Bye, Marissa. Bye.